All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Squeaky chairs here.
Perfectly IKEA chair here. Maybe you should have bought your chair from IKEA, Nick.
I think it's so uncomfortable. How dare you?
It makes you have good posture. I love it. You sit so upright. I really do like it.
And we are excited to react to someone new to us on the channel. Now, this is an interesting one. Someone had commented like, hey, you gotta check out Fred Dibnah. He's a legend in the UK. So I just assume he's like a comedian like the other guys, people that we react to.
He's not?
Well, Wikipedia says that he's a steeplejack, but also a television personality.
First of all, Wikipedia is not an
I get that. But there's videos on there of, there's one 6-minute video. I thought it was like a comedy type thing where it says he climbs like a steeple, like a really tall one. And so I watched it and he literally, I mean, it's really tall. Like think about like Golden Gate Bridge and like those things, those big long towers. Mm-hmm. He's just climbing up that thing somewhere in England. And then like it jets out like this and he's on like something like jetting out like.
Is he like strapped in or no? Just climbing?
Yeah, I think he's strapped in. He might just, I don't know. Guy's crazy. So I found a television interview of him.
Okay.
It's called Steeplejack. Makes sense. Backstreet Mechanic. And this is from 1998. So I don't know if he's going to be telling jokes or this or that, or if he's just like a great personality on TV. But it sounds like someone that's beloved from the UK. So we're going to go ahead and check him out. Before we do, if you have other videos that you want us to react to from him that, you know, means a lot to you or you really like, put those in the comment section. Let us know. If you like a reaction to this one, please don't forget to
like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you can be aware of our next uploaded video.
And if you don't care to be notified of our next uploaded video, then that's just sad.
Okay. Nick exited out the thing, so now you had to get back.
That's all I have to say about it. I am not stalling.
Yes, you are.
My name is not Joseph. Here we stall.
You know, your name, it's just, everybody knows who you are. You're incredibly famous, you know? It's not a question of, oh, which one's that? You know, Fred Dibnah. So how have you dealt with fame over the years?
With difficulty. Yeah, it's sort of strange, you know. I mean, they only came along nearly 19 years ago to make a film that were going to last for 20 minutes, and the damn thing lasted for 50 minutes, and then it won 2 Academy Awards, and they came back and made another 4. And then they made another 7, and then they made another 6.
They like you.
And it got all out of hand, you know. It's gone weird.
So what have been the difficult things to cope with as far as fame is concerned?
No, I don't really have much of a problem, you know. My home, my house and everything's become a tourist attraction. Every weekend I have people come and look through my railings. It's a bit like a zoo, you know. Bloody garden. And the braver ones come in, you know. Oh, I say, can I come and have a look around? I've got a visitor's book now for people who come.
Do you charge them?
No, I've never. The income tax might not like that, you know.
Yeah, probably not. How about fans? You've got a lot, as you said there. Do you get people writing to you as well?
Yeah, I get letters every day nearly. You know, there's always a big surge when they've rehashed them one more time on television. I mean, the other day I were in Brighton and this guy come to me, he said, I've just come back from Singapore. He said, you're on in Singapore with Chinese subtitles, you know. Swear words in Chinese.
And am I right in thinking, sorry, you're a bit of a sex symbol as well? Because, well, tell me if I'm wrong here, but at one point when you actually came back onto the market, shall we say, to put it another way, you got a lot of women writing to you offering to come and look after you.
Yeah, I don't know why, you know, but old age pensioner nearly now.
You know, we see you demolishing these chimneys. You're also an accomplished engineer as well.
Oh, yeah,
you do a lot of restoration.
There's a great part of my life that the BBC, for some unknown reason, don't seem very interested in. And I also mend steam engines and you know, industrial machinery, archaeology machinery. Jeez. And some of the best jobs I've ever done, they've never been near, you know, which has really upset me a bit.
But it's, you know,
the ones that pay the big money, you know, better money than the staplejacking ones.
But things like that take time, don't they? I mean, when do you get time to do sort of normal everyday things, you know, a bit of shopping?
I just never stop working, you know, like last night I was still working at 11:45. I never watch television, you know, so it's no use asking me any questions about the television.
Don't worry, I'm not going to. So who does your shopping for you and things like that?
No, I've got a new lady friend, a new fiancée who's looking after me, you know.
Have you ever had any sort of close shaves?
Yeah, the nearest I ever come to dying were actually down a well, but there's you know, it's one mistake and it's half a day out with the undertaker, you're dead, you know. On one occasion, we were the bank manager, a bit cash strapped, you know, the bank manager and no money, and we're taking this 200-foot chimney down. And the easiest part of any big chimney is the top half, because the wall's the thinnest. And we've got halfway down the bloody thing, and the crowbar, there's segs on your fingers, and we're not making a lot of progress. And we've adjourned for lunch to the pub across the road. And the landlord at the pub had been a fireman down Pitt, you see, and he said, for anybody who might not understand this, you know, why don't you try a few poppers in it? That means small explosion, you know, boom, shake it up a bit, and then it'll come off easier with the crowbar. At the bottom of this chimney, there's the substation that runs the mill and the blacksmith shop and the mechanic shop, you see. So I said, no, I don't think Mr. Courtauld will take too kindly to dynamite up in the sky there. I'm thinking more in terms of hydraulics. If we could get an hydraulic ram inside it and shove with chisels on the end and give it a bit of a shove, we nibble away at the edges all the way around, you see. And they're just shut in a pit down the road. The landlord of the house knew the engineer at the pit, so we got on the blower. Cut a long story short, we're off down to the pit. We get the hydraulic ram, 3 days blacksmithing and messing about, and we've got it inside the chimney. And a little fellow like me in a day could get more off than 2 6-foot Irishmen with a jackhammer each, you see, with this hydraulic ram. But greed and the bank manager, you see, nibbling away at an area where the size of a football pitch. The substation and the blacksmith shop are only taking a very small area up, you see. So we'll nibble away there and leave the front bit till it's about 3 feet high. Take the chisel off the ram and put it against a piece of timber and shove a big lump off. And greed and the bank manager, the lumps got bigger and bigger and bigger until they were half a 14-foot diameter, 3 feet thick and 9 feet tall with a 9x3 piece of timber against it and the ram against that. Now when it comes off its, you know, off the bed joint, you're dealing with an unbelievably unstable piece of brickwork. It's round, isn't it? You know, 9 feet tall. And as it goes over, we're packing up the wood at each end, you know, blocks of wood and wooden wedges. And launch time, you know, we're all about 90 feet up. Me and the guy who's assisting me.
This is the long version, isn't it, Fred?
He's playing the fiddle in the alley orchestra. The man who's helping me is a violinist in the alley orchestra. We stood on 2 planks across the hall in the middle. And the bloody thing split right down the middle, you know, one big lump come inwards, like 4 foot square and half a 14-foot diameter. Where do we go, you know, like, jump off the planks onto the wall over there. The big lump went down the middle, the chimney, the other piece went over the side and broke into 2 big blocks about 4 foot square, and one of them landed on the ridge of the blacksmith shop. And the walls went out and the roof went in. You know, this is the end of my career as a steeple guy. But it weren't.
It's more than
you
your
know,
career as a steeple jack. It's the end of you.
Oh, we nearly died, you know, very, very close to seeing him upstairs, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, basically, I've never heard of a steeplejack before.
Me neither.
Basically, is he just like removing chimneys, and why are we removing chimneys?
I don't know. I would assume a steeplejack is someone that deals with any kind of shaft, chimney, steeple, whatever you want to think of that kind of nature. I'm kind of more curious on the Academy Award part, though. That really caught my interest. But it's interesting reacting to something like this because it's obviously not, it's just an interview. It's a guy that is beloved by a lot of people. I mean, he's got people peeking through his railings. He's got letters being sent to him all the time. He's got women once he becomes a bachelor. And nothing against him, but he's like a regular-looking guy, right? Not like...
Well, and look, it looks like he's been married a few times.
George Clooney or something like that. Well, the first one was for a good long while. Second one, not too bad. Susan Lorenz. I think I've heard that. Nah, that's really a coincidence. If she was famous, could have clicked on it. And he's been married to this Sheila. He's only 66-year-old. Married to Sheila for a while.
Well, he died in 2004.
He died. I'm going to say 66. That math does not make sense. So he died in 2004. So he was married to her for about 6 years. But again, I'm still curious about this movie that said they made 6 more and then 4 more and then all this kind of stuff. Cost-effective method of demolishing them. He offered to remove them without using explosives by cutting an ingress at the base of the chimney, supporting the brickwork, and then so why? Again, maybe it's just demolishing buildings. What are we going to do with this chimney? It was more cheaper just to cut it off.
Maybe, but it sounds like they're
repairing chimneys. Oh, to repair chimneys. He mastered his trade repairing chimneys, became aware of the demand for a cost-effective method of demolishing them. He offered to remove them without using explosives. So he was kind of talking about that a little bit there. But this guy's just, you know, no pun intended, a jack of all trades, it seems like. And he commissioned to make repair. I'm trying to figure out how he got famous by doing this. Like, even himself said he did more extravagant things that he, for surprise, was not making him as beloved as that.
Is it that one?
Fred Dibnah, Steeplejack, won the 1979 BAFTA Award for Best Documentary. Okay, so it's it's a documentary. So I have to check that out. See what it's all about. I mean, he said Academy Awards. Maybe he meant BAFTA, which is their version of it, but I don't think he would call it an Academy Award. He would have called it a BAFTA, because that's a big deal. He was filming something else, but then he suffered severe abdominal pains and started getting sick before he died. Wow. So, seems like a guy that lived a very interesting life, a guy that has done many different things. Not the type of guy you would think would become famous.
No.
Right? Just
a random,
what do they call it?
Dude.
Is it blue collar where you're
collar.
like, yeah, blue collar worker where you're just like, you're getting a lunchbox, you're going to work and you're putting in that time, but he did this documentary and it seems like his career, so to speak, just took off. Even though he didn't seem to go all Hollywood, he still was doing his trade and doing other trades and mechanics and whatnot. I don't know. It's crazy.
It makes me wonder. I was thinking about this the other day. So he became famous, but if he's still kind of down to earth, that's awesome. How many people become famous just temporarily, but on a whim? Like that one dude who was riding the skateboard, hanging off the truck, drinking his cranberry juice to Fleetwood Mac, and the Hawk Tuah girl and all that stuff. How many people become famous and they just milk it for every little bit they can, those little bit of moments? Yeah. Would you be a milker, or would you just be like this guy?
I mean, if I say the latter, then it comes off like I'm really into myself and this self-indulgent. But I would think that. I would think the latter. That's what I would think. What about you?
I would prefer not to make it all famous. I always wanted to write, and if I was ever a writer for novels, I'd want to write under a pseudonym. I wouldn't want people to know it was me. I wouldn't want my picture on there. I mean, I do this to support Nick and because the films are funny and the comedians and stuff, but even Nick can tell you I really didn't want to be on YouTube in the beginning. I was like, yeah, I'll leave this aside.
I didn't really want to be on YouTube either. I just want to talk about movies, and now I'm talking about this. When I enjoy this. This is how it's kind of morphed. Yeah, but exactly. that was the whole thing as well, and it was never... Anyways, we hope you enjoyed our reaction to this. Let us know what you think about reacting to stuff kind of like this. People that you are seemingly interested in. Let us know about what else you want us to react to next, and until next time.
Goodbye.